Hello everyone, welcome to the daily newspaper analysis brought to you by Shankar IAS Academy, 27th February 2025. Displayed here are the list of articles that we will be discussing today. The first article imposing ban on convicted lawmakers solely on parliament domain. The article is taken from The Hindu. The second article, India-UK Free Trade Agreement talks. The article is taken from The Hindu. The third article, how Indians spend their time. The article is taken from the newspaper Live Mint. So in the first article, we will be discussing the salient features of RPA, that is Representation of People's Act 1951. In the second article, we will discuss what is meant by FTA, that is Free Trade Agreement, and what are the different types of trade agreements that we have, and what are the benefits of signing free trade agreement with a different nation. And then we will also give a small focus on India-UK Free Trade Agreement talks. And the third article, it is about the time use survey data released by the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, which studies how the Indians spend their time. And this survey has highlighted significant disparities between genders and between the urban and rural area in spending their time. So we will discuss more details about the time use survey data. And coming to the fourth article, the call of wild. The article is taken from the newspaper Indian Express. In this topic, we will be discussing the basic facts about Cheetah, and we will also see the project Cheetah and what is the difference between the African cheetah and the Asian cheetah. So without much delay, let's begin our discussion with the first article. India's proposed free trade agreement with the United Kingdom. The article is taken from The Hindu. India has signed 13 free trade agreement and 6 preferential trade agreement with the different nations, and the most important one is the free trade agreement with the United Kingdom. So in this background, we are going to see what is meant by the free trade agreement, what are the benefits, and what are the different types of trade agreements that we have. So what is meant by free trade agreement? Free trade agreement is actually a pact between the countries which eliminates or reduces import duties and also reduce non-tariff barriers. Non-tariff barriers in the sense, regulatory frameworks or the legal barriers in nations, and other paperworks can be reduced through this free trade agreement, and ultimately this will facilitate the investment, service, and export, and also boost the export. And the boosting the export is one of the primary objective of India's free trade agreements with the different nations. And we know that since 1990s, the world entered into an era of globalization where the free movement of capital and goods and services is essential for every nation to sustain in the world. And we can see that since 2014, India has concluded various free trade agreements with important nations like Mauritius, United Arab Emirates, and now we are shifting our focus to far west, that is with the United States and European Union. And coming to the types of trade agreements, first we have the preferential trade agreements. So in the news article itself, it is mentioned that India has signed 6 preferential trade agreements, and this preferential trade agreements reduces tariff on selected goods. Selected goods, for example, the free trade agreement with the United Kingdom. It expects that it will help help to boost the Indian textile industry. On other side, it will also benefit the automobile industry and the beverage industry in the United Kingdom. So recently, India has concluded a preferential trade agreement with the Thailand, and so note that the preferential trade agreement is it is an agreement which reduces tariff on selected goods. And the next is regional trade agreement. So regional trade agreement, this agreement covers a region. For the best example that we have the ASEAN, or Association of Southeast Asian Nations. It is a block of Southeast Asian nations. We know that Southeast Asian nations were under the colonial rule for nearly 2 centuries, and this ASEAN, Association of Southeast Asian Nations, was established under the Bangkok Declaration in 1960, and this facilitated the free movement of goods, service, and capital, and eventually revived the Southeast Asian region economically and made them a significant economic powers these days. And with the best example that we have before is Singapore. And the next is the bilateral trade agreement. It's a trade agreement between 2 countries. And the next is the CECA, that is Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement. It covers trades in goods, services, and investments. And the next we have the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. This ensures partnership in the similar areas, but comparing with the CECA, that is comparing with the Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement, the scope of CEPA, that is Comprehensive Economic Partnership, is much wider, and India has signed the Comprehensive Economic Partnership with nations like Korea and Japan. And next we have the TEPA, that is Trade and Economic Partnership Agreement. The scope of this TEPA is much wider than the CECA and the CEPA. So it is also focusing on facilitating trade and investment. So almost the three agreements, that is CECA, CEPA and TEPA, they are same, but the scope is wider. That's only difference. So coming to the benefits of the free trade agreements, first is the market access. So reducing the duty, imported duty can enhance, gives more opportunity for the goods and services in market. So how this will work? For example, imagine that car manufacturing. So in United Kingdom also there will be car manufacturers, and in India also we have car manufacturers. So what happens is that the United Kingdom, the car manufacturing industries will export the goods to India. That is, they will export the cars to India. So the India will impose import duty on these cars. So what happens is that this imposition of this import duty will make the cars from the United Kingdom more expensive comparing with the cars manufactured in the domestic market of India. So what happens is that if the demand for the domestic cars are falling, then India will impose high import duty on the imported goods or imported cars. So this will force the people to purchase the domestically manufactured cars. So the imported duty has a purpose, that is to protect the domestic goods and services or domestic market. So this is how the import duty will work. So the free trade agreement will reduce the tariff, or will provide certain concession, will enhance the export. That means the free trade agreement with the United Kingdom will encourage the car manufacturers in UK to export more cars to India. On other side, India will also get benefit, that is the Indian textiles will also get this benefit. That means the UK will reduce the tariff on the Indian textiles and Indian products. Therefore, the Indian products will also find good places in the United Kingdom markets. And the next is competitive advantage. That means the free trade agreement will offer a level playing field. That means we can also compete in the global market. And the next is expansion of export. So like I mentioned, once the tariff duty is reduced, for example, the Britain reduces the import duty, then India can export more goods to Britain. On the other side, when India reduces tariff duty on British goods, then British can also export a lot of goods to India. Coming to the protection of domestic industries in the free trade agreement. So once we signed the free trade agreement with a nation, then we have to reduce the import duty, or we have to relax the regulatory barriers and other frameworks to promote the trade relation. So here how we can support, or how we can protect the domestic industries. First is listing the industries into sensitive and negative industries. So for example, if we found that the Indian toy manufacturers are not developing, or they cannot make much profit, then we will list them. And in this sector we will not provide any tariff concession, or we will provide only limited tariff concession. For example, the India-UK free trade agreement is expected to boost the beverage industry in United Kingdom and the automobile industry. But at the same time, Britain may be listed some other industries which they seek to promote. And the next is trade remedial measures, that we can also take anti-dumping duties can be imposed. And the next is and the safeguards are also addressed, are also used to address the import surge. So we know that anti-dumping we have discussed many times. That means for example, if you take a nation A and nation B, the nation A will manufacture the toy car at the rate of 50 rupees, while in domestic the cost of the same toy will be 100 rupees. So what happens is that the country B will produce this toy car on a large scale in bulk, and they will export that to some other nation, and this will destroy the domestic markets or the domestic industries in nation A. So this activity is known as dumping. So this the anti-import duties can be imposed to address these type of malpractices or issues in the international trade. And the next is India's free trade agreement. So India has already concluded free trade agreements with various nations like Sri Lanka, Bhutan, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, Korea, Japan, Australia, UAE, and Mauritius, and other ASEAN nations. And now India is shifting its focus from Asian partners to the Western economies like United Kingdom, UK, and US. Like United Kingdom, European Union, and the US. So coming to the overview about the India-UK free trade agreement, the negotiations actually started in January 2022, that is 3 years back, and nearly 14 rounds of talks has been completed, and this talk was resumed on 24th January 2025, and the objective is to reduce tariff, encourage trade through relaxing other barriers and other legal formalities in two different nations. And the ultimate objective is to boost the technology, healthcare, and education sectors in two nations. So, what are the key demands of India in this free trade agreement with the United Kingdom? The first is accessing market. The second one is social security agreements, that is preventing double taxation. We know that a double taxation. So, if, for example, some countries will impose tax known as export duty. Okay. So, what happens is that a person who is exporting a product from country A and to country B, they have to pay tax in country A and country B. In country B, they have to pay the import duty, and in country A, they have to pay the export duty. So, this problem has to be eliminated. So that is one of the demands of India. And the next is tariff concession, that is reduced or zero duties on certain goods to promote the Indian industries. And the next is market access, that is encouraging more professionals in encouraging more human resource from India in the United Kingdom market, and also encouraging the students and people to people cooperation for better relation between the India and the United Kingdom. And what are the key demands of India? First one is, on other side, the same demand, that is lower tariff, that is reduce the tariff on scotch, whiskey, and other beverages, electric vehicles, and meat, chocolates. These are the flourishing industries in the Western nations. So they are seeking a lower tariff import duty on these sectors. And the next is and also Britain is also seeking to enhance relationship in the field of telecom, legal, banking, and insurance, because we know that India is known for service sector, because we know that India is known for providing better cooperation and better service in the tertiary sector. So that is why Britain is also seeking better cooperation in the service sector of with India. So in this topic, we discussed what is meant by the free trade agreement, what are the different types of trade agreements, and what are the benefits of this. So based on our discussion, try to answer this prelims practice question. The question is, with reference to the free trade agreements, consider the following statements. Statement 1, free trade agreements eliminates tariff on all goods traded between country partners. And statement 2, under an FTA, that is under free trade agreement, non-tariff barriers such as licensing and quotas are also addressed. So which of the statements given above is or are correct? Option A, 1 only, option B, 2 only, option C, 1 and 2 only, and option D, neither 1 nor 2. So the correct answer is option B, 2 only. So statement 1, FTAs eliminates tariff on all goods traded between partner countries. So here itself you have a keyword. So usually whenever extreme statements are given in UPSC or in any type of exam, the statement will be mostly wrong. Because there is only rare extreme statement. From the keyword itself, you can identify that this statement is wrong, and the correct answer is option B, 2 only. So with this, we will move to the next article. Government questions play for life ban on convicted politicians, says panel punishments are finite. The article is taken from the Hindu. Recently, a debate has been resurfaced between the Supreme Court of India and the central government. The central government says that the politicians who are convicted will be banned from contesting elections under the Section 8 of the Representation of Peoples Act 1951. And they say that this is enough. On the other side, the Supreme Court argued that how a person who broke the law can become a lawmaker. So in this background, we are going to see the salient features of the Representation of Peoples Act 1951 and its important provisions. So the Representation of Peoples Act 1951, it is a key law regulating the Indian elections, and it ensures free, fair and transparent elections in India by setting rules for eligibility of the candidates, procedures, and the procedures for the registration of the party, and also provides provisions regarding the disqualification of candidates if they engage in any kind of malpractice. And this helps in preventing corruption and strengthens the foundation of the Indian democracy. So coming to the key sections in the Representation of Peoples Act in 1951, first we have the Section 8 of the Act, that is talking about the disqualification of the candidates if they are convicted more than 2 years in the prison. And the next is Section 29, which talks about the registration process for the political parties. And next we have the Section 123. It talks about the corrupt practices in the election, including the bribery. And next we have the Section 123 of the Act, which talks about which lists corruption or malpractices, which includes bribery also. And the next is Section 33, which talks about the nomination and the eligibility of the candidates. And the next is Section 62, which talks about the voting rights of the individuals in India and also promotes the voters' participation. And next we have the Section 100, which which provides provisions regarding the declaration of election as a void if in case if there is any malpractice, for example using the administrative mechanism or using the government machineries to to promote yourself in the election. So these type of practices are later found, then the election can be declared void. And then next we have the section 126 of the act, which talks about the ban on election activities 48 hours before the polling. That means if the polling is starting 6 o'clock this morning, then the political parties and the candidates have to stop their activities 48 hours before the polling. And the next is section 126A of the act, which talks about the exit poll ban. We know that exit poll, right? That means even after the election, the people will the medias will make certain assumptions and programs conducting related to the which party will win the election or which candidates will win the election. So this type of assumptions or such programs has to be avoided. And the next is section 77, which talks about the election expenses. That means there is a there is a limit for the financial expenditure, right? So if they are going beyond that, or if they are they have to show from which source they got this fund. So this will help us to manage the illegal financial activities and transactions during the time of election. And coming to the eligibility and the disqualification, so a candidate has to be a qualified voter to participate in the election or to contest in the election to Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. And the next we have the reserved states, right, in reserved constituencies. And for that the people from the candidate from that particular community has to participate. No other candidate from other communities can participate in reserved seats. The next is disqualification. That means even after the release, even after the sentence, the person will be banned for 6 years in case of certain specific crimes such as murder or violence against women and all. And the next is disqualification criteria. So what are the criteria, or on what basis or on what ground a candidate can be disqualified? That is, first is promoting hatred speech or enmity between the communities, practicing untouchability or smuggling of drugs and or promoting terrorism. And next is election misconduct. That means if you are practicing any type of illegal if you are doing any illegal activities during the time of election to manipulate the process, then that is the best example, using the government machinery or government officials to promote yourself in the election. This type of activities are not encouraged. And the next is serious crimes. If a candidate has any history of a serious crime such as rape or violence against women, then he will be banned from participating in the election. And next is promoting religious disharmony in the society. That is, supporting one religion and spreading hatred against another religion. This type of activities will divide the society, and therefore it will not be encouraged. And the next we have if a candidate spent more than 2 years in the prison, then he has to face a lot of complexities to contest in election according to the RPA. And the next we have the corrupt practices and government contract violations can also result in banning candidates from contesting in election, or results in the disqualification. And the next is if a candidate fails to declare his liability and asset within 90 days of taking oath, will be disqualified from his political career. So these are the ground on which a person will be disqualified under RPA. And coming to the political party registration, so all political parties has to register with the Election Commission of India. It's a constitutional body under Article 324 of the Indian Constitution. We know that. And in case if they are changing their political symbol, or if they are changing their party's name or address, then they have to report that before the ECI. And coming to the rules for the political parties, we can see the political parties can accept a donation from the individuals and private companies in India. On other side, the donation from the government entities, agencies, and the foreign agencies are completely prohibited. And if a donation for an individual candidate is going beyond 20,000, then he has to report that to the Election Commission of India. So these are the regulations for political parties under RP. And coming to the recognition of political parties, to declare a party as a national party, then it should have 6% votes in at least 4+ states in India, or 2% seats in Lok Sabha from more than 3 states. So these are the criteria to declare a party as a national party. First is they should have a 6% valid vote in state assemblies, at least in 4 different states, or they should have a 2% votes in Lok Sabha from 3 different states. So these are the 2 criteria to declare a party as a national party. And the next is state party. To declare a party as a state party, then it should have a 6% vote valid votes in the state assembly, or 3% state assembly seats. So this is required to declare a party as a state party. So coming to the security deposit. So a candidate has to make certain deposit before contesting an election. So in the case of Lok Sabha, it is 25,000, and in the case of other elections, it is 12,500. And for SC/ST candidates, there will be a 50% concession. And coming to the Section 8 of the RPA, that is Representation of People's Act. So we are going to look more details into the Section 8. First, we have the Section 8 Clause 1. So this provision talks about the conviction of the candidates under serious provisions like IPC and UAPA and Corruption Act. The next is Section 8 Clause 2. It addresses corruptions like hoarding, adulteration, and dowry. And the next we have the Section 8 Clause 3, which talks about if a person spend more than 2 years in prison, will be disqualified from participating or contesting in elections, and he has to face the ban. The ban will be continued for more than 6 years, even after his his sentence. And next we have the Section 8 Clause 4, which this section actually allowed the candidates to retain their seats if they are appealing within 90 days. But after the Lily Thomas case of 2013, the Supreme Court struck down this provision. So in this topic, we discussed the importance of RPA, that is Representation of People's Act in 1951. So based on our discussion, try to answer this prelims practice question. The question is, under which section of RPA 1951 do political parties register with the Election Commission of India? So it's a factual question, and option A, Section 8 is, option B, Section 29A, option C, Section 62, and option D, 126. The correct answer is option B, Section 29A. How Indians spend their time. The article is taken from the newspaper Live Mint. So on Tuesday, the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation released the Time Use Survey Data 2024, which highlights significant disparities in terms of gender and between regions, between urban and rural area. So we know that the purpose of this data is to analyze or to understand how the Indians spend their time. So first we are going to see what is this time use survey. It is a large scale survey conducted by the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. So not this ministry, it is very important from prelims point of view, and it measures how the Indians spend their time. And now the survey has highlighted significant disparities in spending time in terms of gender and between the regions, between the urban and rural area. So what was the methodology adopted by the officials to conduct this survey? The first is they surveyed nearly 1,38,799 households for this purpose, and out of the 60% was from rural area, remaining 40% was from urban area, and the personal interview method was adopted, and nearly 4,47,250 people above the age of 6 years was interviewed by the officials, covering a period of 24 hours to collect the data. And coming to the first important highlight, that is employment and unpaid work. So it shows us, this area shows a significant disparity in terms of rural and urban area between men and women. If you take the employment itself, you can see that the employment rate of men is 55%, while for women is only 25.3%. And if you take the time for the unpaid work, unpaid domestic services, women spends nearly 4.9 hours per day, while only men spends only 1.3 hours per day. Coming to the caregiving and domestic work, you can see the women plays very important role in providing caregiving. That is nearly 41% women, they provide caregiving, while only 20% men engages in providing caregiving. And if you take the unpaid caregiving as a work, the value will stand around rupees 22.5 lakh crore. That is actually it is an unrealized revenue. So to understand what is meant by unrealized revenue, please go and watch the editorial video that we posted on this Monday. And coming to the the work hours, the hours taken by the men and women for domestic work, you can see the men engages only 1.2 hours per day for domestic work, while on other side women engages nearly 2.6 hours per day for unpaid domestic work. So coming to the skill and learning development, you can see 89.3% of children between the age of 16 and 14 are engaged in learning, and they are spending around an average of 6.8 hours per day for learning alone. And coming to the adult population between age of 15 and 59, so we can see nearly only 34.6% of adult population is engaged in skill development programs, and they are spending average 2.6 hours per day for their skill development. So it is a concern, because we know that India is a nation with a huge population, and that too with a huge youth population, but only 34.6% of the people are engaged in skill development. It is really a concern for India. And coming to the leisure and the social activities, so according the survey highlights that the people spends nearly 11% of their daily time for leisure. That means watching movies or going for other entertainments and all. And the next is an adult population of nearly 21.1% engages in social activities, and they are spending an average of 2.3 hours per day for their social activities. So what are the key takeaways from the time use survey data 2024? First is varied time use patterns. That means you can see the significant disparities between men, women, between rural and urban area, and also disparities in terms of employment, unpaid work, and caregiving, because we know that men are the employment rate for men is much higher than women, but on other side the unpaid work is done more by women than men, and on other side you can also see the women participates more in caregiving than men, and they are spending more time to comparing with the men for unpaid work. And coming to the total value of the unpaid work done in India, in another sense we can say the unrealized revenue, it will stand at the value of rupees 43.8 lakh crore. So if we can if we can provide proper more opportunities for women also, then we can gear up the economic development, and we can also make the society and the economy even more inclusive. So in this topic we discussed time use survey, and based on discussion, try to answer this prelims practice question. The question is, which organization conducted India's first official time use survey in 2019? Option A, National Statistical Office. Option B, Niti Aayog. Option C, Reserve Bank of India. And option D, Labour Bureau. So it's a factual question, and the correct answer is National Statistical Office. It is coming under the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. So the survey is also published by the Ministry of Program Implementation, Statistics and Program Implementation, not this ministry. It is very important from prelims point of view. Call of the Wild from Indian Express. The Kuno National Park posted a photo on X, that is former Twitter, in which Cheetah Jawla and her now grown-up cubs are seen in Kuno River. We know that the last cheetah in India died in the year 1947 in the state of Chhattisgarh. And after that, in the year 2023, the government of India reintroduced the cheetahs from Africa. And then we heard some unfortunate news that the cheetahs in the Kuno National Park in Madhya Pradesh are dying because of various infection. But now we are seeing Jawla and her kids are happily playing in a river, which makes us really happy, isn't it? So in this background, we are going to see more about the cheetah from the prelims point of view. So coming to the scientific name of cheetah, that is Acinonyx juvetus, and they belongs to the big cat family known as Felidae. They belongs to the big cat family known as Felida. And coming to the IUCN status, the African cheetah is categorized under vulnerable category, while Asian cheetah is categorized under the critically endangered category. And coming to the habitat, we often see cheetah in Animal Planet and National Geography. We mostly found them in grassland, savanna, and scrub forest. And coming to the key features of cheetah, we know that it is the fastest land animal, which can run up to 100 to 120 kilometers per hour. And they have non-retractable claws, which provides them grip while running. And unlike the tiger or lion, the cheetahs won't roar. Instead, they will purr. So coming to the historical context, the cheetah was declared as an extinct species in the year 1952. What were the causes? The excessive hunting, habitat loss, and the depletion of prey were the primary reason behind the extinction of cheetah in the year 1952. And the last recorded cheetah was found in the state of Chhattisgarh in the year 1947. And to protect the cheetah, the government of India in the year 2022, they started Project Cheetah, and it is implemented by the National Tiger Conservation Authority and the Wildlife Institute of India, and which is working under the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. So as a part of this Project Cheetah, as a part of the phase 1, 8 cheetahs were brought from Namibia, and 12 cheetahs were brought from South Africa, and they were released in the Kuno National Park. Why they are released in the Kuno National Park, we will see in the upcoming slides. So Kuno National Park, it is located in Madhya Pradesh, and the habitat is a primary reason. It is grassland. It has grassland and scrub forest, which is very suitable for cheetah, and they have a very good availability of prey. For example, chital, nilgai, and sambar. And this region also records minimal human disturbance. And the Kuno National Park was previously considered for the rehabilitation or reintroduction of or the relocation of the Asiatic lion. Coming to the challenges in the Kuno National Park, first one was the high mortality, because we know that recently there was news that because of the infection, many cheetahs are dying. And the next is human wildlife conflict. Even though various steps are taken, still the man-animal conflict is prevailing in the is a biggest environment challenge, and it is there also. And but we have alternative sites like the Gandhi Sagar Wildlife Sanctuary and the Mukundar Hills in Rajasthan. But you have to note that the Kuno National Park is best because of its the ecosystem is very suitable for cheetah for their survival. And coming to the global cheetah conservation, we have Asiatic cheetah. It is primarily located. It is found in the nation of Iran, and formerly it was there in Pakistan and India as well, but now it is only in Iran, and it is in the category of critically endangered. And then we have the African cheetah. It is African cheetah is categorized as vulnerable, and it is reintroduced to India. And we can see the Cheetah Conservation Fund in Namibia is a key partner in cheetah conservation. Is a key partner to India in cheetah conservation. So you can see the picture of cheetah. And coming to the key difference between the Asiatic cheetah and the African cheetah. So the native, Asiatic cheetah is found in the nation of Iran, and it was there in India and Pakistan as well. While the African cheetah is found in the African nations of Namibia, South Africa, and Botswana. And coming to the conservation status, it is critically endangered. Asiatic cheetah is critically endangered, and while the African cheetah is considered as vulnerable under the IUCN list. And coming to the current population, the Asiatic cheetah is critically endangered because the population is just 50 to 70, and that too only in Iran. While the African cheetah, it is still 7,000 plus. Coming to the size and the physical structure of this African cheetah and Asian cheetah, you can see Asian cheetah is much leaner, smaller, and with they have longer limbs, while the African cheetah is much bigger. So coming to the coating and marking, the Asiatic cheetah is paler, and there is only fewer spots in their body, and they have thick fur. While on other side, the African cheetah, they are bright yellow, and they have densely spotted. They are densely spotted because it will provide them, it will help them to hide, and they are densely spotted because this will help them to hide in the grassland to catch their prey. And coming to the speed of the African cheetah and Asiatic cheetah, African cheetah is slightly faster than the Asiatic cheetah. African cheetah can run 100 to 120 kilometer, while the Asiatic cheetah is slightly slower because they can run only up to 90 to 100 kilometer. And coming to the habitat, the Asiatic cheetah, they live in dry, mountainous, semi-arid region, while the African cheetah lives in the open savanna. And coming to the behavior of the Asiatic cheetah and African cheetah, Asiatic cheetah is solitary in nature, and they always have a territory. That means a cheetah has a specific territory, and no other cheetah or animals will be allowed to dominate in that cheetah. And territorial. Coming to the behavior of the Asiatic cheetah and African cheetah, the Asiatic cheetah is solitary and territorial. That means they will always live alone, and they will have a specific territory. They will mark a specific territory, and within that territory, they will be the cheetah will be dominating. No other cheetah or no other animal will be allowed to dominate in that region. If they want to dominate, then they have to defeat or they have to kill this cheetah. And on the other side, the African cheetah is much more social, and sometimes they even forms coalition. And coming to the reintroduction of cheetah in India, the Asiatic cheetah is not possible. Asiatic cheetah, the feasibility is very less because the population of this Asiatic cheetah is very, it is only few, only 50 to 70 individuals are there. So reintroducing them will not be possible because the climate or the conditions in India may not be suitable for them. That will immediately result in the extinction of Asiatic cheetah. That's why we took cheetah from Africa. So 20 African cheetahs were introduced in India between the year 2020 to 2023. So why African cheetahs? So just like I mentioned, the population is a primary reason. Africa has nearly 7,000 plus cheetah population, while the Asiatic cheetah population is endemic. That we can say that it is only in the state of in the nation of Iran, and that too the population is just between 50 and 100. And the ecological similarity. So in the Kuno National Park, it's a grassland, and therefore it will provide better opportunity for the cheetahs to survive even in the Kuno National Park. And Asiatic cheetah, it is critically endangered, while the African cheetah is vulnerable, right? And the next reason we took cheetahs from Africa was sourcing. That was the getting cheetah from Namibia and South Africa was much easy. So in this topic we discussed the importance of Project Cheetah and the basic facts about cheetah from the prelims point of view. So based on a discussion, try to answer this prelims practice question. The question is, which of the following statements are not right about the Kuno river? It is a tributary of Godavari river, and the statement 2, it originates from the Malwa Plateau. Which of the above statements are not right about the Kuno river? So option A, 1 only, option B, 2 only, option C, both 1 and 2, and option D, neither 1 nor 2. The correct answer is option C, both 1 and 2. So the Kuno river is not a tributary of Godavari river, and it is not originating from the Malwa Plateau. So both the statements are incorrect. So your work is to go and identify more facts about the Kuno river. So what are the states the river flows through, and what are the important features of this river, and if there is any specific or particular species living in this river or in and around this river. So do the homework and post it in the comment section. So the answer for this question is option C, both 1 and 2. With this, we are coming to the conclusion for today's newspaper analysis. If you like the video, hit the like button, give your feedbacks as comments, and share this content with your friends. And before leaving this channel, don't forget to subscribe to Shankar IAS Academy, and also hit the bell icon to receive on-time update from Shankar IAS Academy. Thank you. Have a nice day.